Whether you're married or single or poly or ace, or hanging out with swingers back at your place, listen to us as we give no fuck on Tinder and Bumble and plenty of yucks, trying and having no luck, because we all know dating kinda sucks. Sarah and Adam are two of a kind. He says stupid shit and she doesn't mind. They're not doing this show to make any buck. Life as a chicken whose feathers he plucks. Why does it work? Well, here is the crux. They both know dating kinda sucks. Dating kinda sucks.
Hi, I am Adam Heath Avitable.
And I'm Sarah.
This is Dating Kinda Sucks, a podcast about dating, sex, and relationships. This week we'll be talking about why you should avoid dating coaches and relationship gurus. Enjoy the show.
Hey there, YouTube. All 10 of you guys watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you 10 can keep watching our videos that we release every other week. Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Let's just start off by saying I have dating coach in my Instagram, so I feel called out by this intro to our episode.
I know we're going to be talking about dating coaches and gurus, and you say you're a dating coach, but you know,
I say that for SEO reasons. So if people are looking for dating related content, maybe my headline on my bio will show up and then they'll see the podcast, and then there you go. Do I talk about dating all the time? Yes, but I don't claim. I just claim it on Instagram for search purposes. So
right.
I'm a fraud. Am I a fraud? I don't know. We'll get into it.
Well, I think that it's going to be a good topic because it is in demand, which is why it's worthwhile to put it in your bio for at least for the podcast sake. And we'll get into that after we, of course, spend our first half of our episode talking about us and our lives, and then we'll get into it. Yeah, it's always, it's not, sometimes it's about dating, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's just about life in general, but dating's about life too. And so I feel like it's always pertinent in some way.
Always related to something. So
yes.
where do we begin from
when we last left off, we're talking about you,
stuff.
not about me.
We're talking about me.
Yes.
Okay. Let's do it.
When we last left off, you were heading to Maine.
Good old state of Maine. Yes, sir.
To hang out with Master of None's family for the first time, like in an extended fashion, with no internet.
Yeah, well, okay, so
which just sounded like a horror movie put together. Just every element of a horror movie there.
So you could find internet if you stood in the corner and were like holding your phone up like this, going, "Fuck, I just want to post this Instagram thing." I could make it work. I would get a solid one or two bars depending on where it was in the house. But for the most part, yeah, there wasn't a TV because they were really far off the main drive. There wasn't any internet line connecting to the cabin. So, but I survived. I still posted on Instagram, as a lot of you know. So
yeah, you did.
I went against the grain. Honestly, in Maine, there's really not great cell service in general. So that's just a collective state problem. And then once we got into Portland, Maine, I was like, oh shit, I have full service. I can use my phone. Holy shit, this is cool.
You're in civilization when you're in Portland, Maine.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, like the trip, I'm back. I didn't die. Nothing terrible happened. I think it was definitely challenging. I enjoyed. I'll start off. Okay, I enjoyed my time in Maine, and I loved hanging out with. Oh fuck! I'm sorry. I was totally not even.
No, I'm gonna have to go edit this for the video.
Oh my god! I can just start this whole fucking thing all over again, but. But I'll just start off by saying I enjoyed my time with Master of None. We had fun, but there were some road bumps. There's some bumpy days
some bumpy days. I mean, going out with like spending a vacation with a family is different than like you were staying at his house. That's one thing, but like going on vacation with the family is a whole new element, and they can make it. Yeah, and like it can be very interesting. So what were some of these little speed bumps?
Challenge number 1, there was only one vehicle. So if I wanted to go into town and it was about a 15-minute drive to get into the main part of town. If I wanted to go into town, I would have to coordinate what everybody else was doing to then see if Master of None would drive said vehicle so I could go somewhere. So there was a day where I just felt completely stuck, where I was like, I don't have a plan. I don't know I can't go anywhere. So there was that. Number two, I realized very quickly that I am very different from Master of None's family. And I got very animated playing a board game with his family, and we were playing this game called Secret Hitler, which was super fun game.
Yeah.
But there was a time when Master of None was trying to be shitty, and I caught him in a lie or whatever, and he had this grin on his face, and I was like, I just stood up, I was like, you motherfucker, you fucking bitch, like in front, not even thinking, like in front of his dad, in front of his stepmom, in front of his sister. Like this was night one, I want to say, like,
Oh my
night
god.
one, and I got so animated. And then the next day, his sister was like, "Yeah, that was definitely the loudest the cabin has ever been." And I told him after, I was like, "Should I apologize to your family for cursing so much? I feel bad." He's like, "No, don't apologize. It'll just make it weird." I'm like, "Did they care? I don't know." So I just felt awkward because they were definitely quieter people than my family. Like my family would be drunk at fucking
Right.
noon, yelling at each other, playing cards, where his family
Sure.
was civilized. So there was definitely a gap there of I felt like an outsider because his sister didn't bring an outsider. I say that in air quotes because there wasn't someone outside of the immediate family for me to relate to. It was just me and then the family.
Yeah.
So there were times where I felt awkward of like they're all sitting around telling family stories and that's all fine. But then I felt like I don't really feel like I can contribute to this conversation. And anytime I contribute in general, I'm the loud, obnoxious one. So then I feel weird. So there was like a dynamic there of me trying to figure out. Obviously, like it worked out, but it was just, I came in real hot.
Yeah, you managed to use your one bar and text me about the beginning of that, and I just
Oh,
it made me
day
so
one, I fucked up.
I
I
laughed
fucked
so
up.
hard. Yeah, you're like you tell me about that, and I was amazed. That entertained me significantly because I can really sympathize with that too. And then you're very competitive, and I imagine everything they do is probably just in fun, and you probably get really
I
really
want to
shitty
win,
about
but I
things.
don't like
Yes.
playing if I'm gonna lose, and they're better
Yeah.
at certain games than I am. So I'm like, ah, fuck it. And then, the fun activities when it rained was like reading, and I don't read. I really don't read. Like I will read on a plane. I
Yeah, you
will read
should
on.
read more, by the way.
I'm an idiot. I'm just a fucking idiot. I don't read. I don't read as much as I should. I've completed 2 books this year, but that was like traveling in an airplane where I had time to do nothing, so I was gonna read. Anyways, so that was like the when it was raining and we couldn't go outside on the lake or anything. That day I felt
Right.
like I was gonna die because I couldn't leave the cabin because of the
Yeah.
car situation and no one else wanted to leave. And then there was no TV or nothing else to do. So I'm just sitting there like, do I drink? I can't really fuck right now because everyone's out and about. Like I need people to leave the cabin for us to fuck. But that did lead to some really fucking great sex because we had to be super quiet, which just made it even more intense when
Right.
we were having sex. So that was fun.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Um,
What?
so what did we learn from this trip with the family?
I will not be going on the family trip that they're having in September. That I told Master of None that halfway through our trip in Maine. I was like, I'm gonna sit the next one out. I know it's with
Uh,
your other side of the family, like your mom and stepdad, but I think you guys can just have your own fun because I'm gonna sit this one out.
and I think the other lesson is that if you go somewhere again with the family, just to pony up the money and rent a car.
Well, if there were any fucking rental cars available, that would have been the
If you
ideal
had planned it
situation.
but if you had known early enough, you probably could have rented one. Like,
I mean, we had 2 months in advance. I guess. I
yeah,
don't know. Just because of like the pandemic and everything, it was
right.
super expensive to get a rental car and there weren't a lot of places around and it would have caused an inconvenience for everybody else to drive us to the rental car place. Like it was just this big thing. So there was that. But I mean overall though we had fun. I think he was really worried that I enjoyed my time there. Cuz he asked me like once we got back to Nashville he was like, "Did you actually have fun or were you like just telling me that?" I was like, "No, like I had fun, but I did struggle at times because I just felt, and on top of that, now it sounds like I'm not having fun, but there were fucking ticks. Like
Yeah.
there were ticks. I was not prepared for
Imagine
the
that
ticks.
in the woods of Maine, there are ticks.
Do I look like a woods girl to you? Do I look like a fucking take me to a
I know you
city?
go on hikes though. You're a hiker.
But like ticks, I don't think about. They're like, yeah, make sure you wear a hat outside because you don't want the ticks in your hair. It'll be
Oh
really hard.
yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? And then the mosquitoes were super bad. And then there were daddy long leg spiders in our fucking cabin at points. And
Oh,
they're like,
those are
oh, they're
fine.
I know they're
Yeah.
harmless, but like I've really never from Florida. It's like the smaller. I really don't see daddy long legs, so those scared the
Right.
shit out of me. And I was like, "What the fuck is that in the bathroom? What the fuck?" And he's like, "Chill, chill, chill. I'll kill it." And he's like, "Actually, don't kill it. Just leave it in there. It's just doing its nature work."
Yeah,
And I'm like, "No, I'm
exactly.
gonna kill it. Are you kidding me?"
It kills flies. You want to leave it. And here's the interesting thing about daddy longlegs that I've heard is that the poison from its bite actually is so powerful it could kill you immediately with one bite. But its teeth are and its mouth or whatever jaw is not strong enough to actually bite into human skin.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Does that make you more or less scared of them?
I still don't fucking like them. Like they were in my fucking kayak as we were kayaking, and I guess when Master of None's ex-girlfriend used to go up to the cabin, I guess she tipped the cabin or the cabin. She
Yeah.
tipped the kayak. Yeah, she
Yeah.
tipped the whole cabin. She tipped the kayak because there was a bug in it, and I swear to God, I was like, just don't be like his ex. Just don't be like his ex. Because that was like the joke that they made multiple times on the fucking
Uh,
lake, and I was like, God. And then there were, of course, fucking spiders in my kayak, and I was like, I can't do it. I don't fucking tip it. Don't tip it. But yeah, they kind of made fun of me with that, but that's fine.
sure.
Whatever. I was the butt of some jokes. It's all good.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, that's to be expected when you're the new family member basically there.
Yeah, yeah. They
I,
didn't want to
I
know how I was doing after a certain point. They're like, "Oh, hey, Sarah's here. We can hear her."
yeah, I'm sure
I
they
mean,
could
they'll
hear.
probably say otherwise, but that like at times I felt like that, and I was like, "Just shut the fuck up, Sarah.
I
Don't
mean,
say anything."
having met Master None and seen how quiet he is,
Yeah.
I can absolutely see if the rest of the family is like he is, then how that would be very difficult sometimes. That you would be by far the loudest person in the room.
I was just like I was trying to be not as what's the best word? Opinionated on what I wanted to do.
You,
Me, yeah.
you, oh wow,
Try not to be a bitch at times where I'm like, "No, I wanna do this," where it's
right.
their vacation too, and I don't have a car. So, but he tried to make it special when, I spent a whole day in the cabin. I was like, "You gotta get me out of here now. I did a whole day and I couldn't fucking leave. You gotta get me out." So, I mean, like he tried and I overall had
Well,
a
that's
good
good.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me when Amy and I were still dating, we were in law school in St. Louis, and we would drive to Clarksville, Tennessee, actually, right outside
All this.
Clarksville, a little town called Russellville, Kentucky, where her mother lived, and her mother had it was like a two bedroom, two bath, converted trailer home, and we would go stay there. Amy would sleep in the bed with her mom, and then Amy's sister had her own room, and then I would sleep on the pull-out couch in the living room. And
Okay.
that worked well because they're like, well, because Amy's like, I'll sleep with you if you want, or I'll sleep with my mom. And I was like, it's like a barely a queen size bed, and the pull-out couch. I was like, I don't even think, I mean, you can if you want, but I feel you're going to be better sleeping with your mom anyways because she has a nice king bed. And but then the family would like come over, like the cousins and the aunts and the uncles and the great, and they would all just kind of sit around and literally just like sit there like their entertainment. It was just like I don't know if it was just kind
And
of
just tell stories and have fun, like, eating and
no, you'd
drinking,
think so,
or
be a kind of like there'd be some inside like, but like for different holidays, or we'd go down to her grandfather's and he was a couple hours away, and we would just literally like just everyone would just sit around as he just sat in his chair and like just stare at each other, and they would occasionally talk, and there would be a TV on, and most people would kind of be watching that. It was just the weirdest, like this quiet environment that was so bizarre. And I remember that when Amy came to my first like Thanksgiving with my family, and they're not who's not Southern, they're all from Boston, they're all New England, and like the entire family is just like the cacophony. They're just all shouting at each other, and not in any angry way, just like pass the fucking potatoes, just basically, just being loud. And
right?
so I remember how just shocked she was. But after a couple of years of this, I finally would be like, I'm not going to your families anymore. Like I would go to the trailer with her parents, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna go down and see grandfather or whatever. And I was like, okay, you guys have
Nope.
fun. I'm gonna stay here. You leave me the car. You take one car, leave me one car, and I would like go to the bookstore, get some books, and I would just like lay in bed and watch a movie and like not have to talk to because like I am not doing that again. I'm sorry, it's just terrible. I have no desire to tell your family that they're great, but I have no desire to be part of that. It's just not for me
It's the
because
emotional energy tied to
oh,
it
it
of
is
having to be a
so
certain way.
exhausting.
It
Yes.
actually is more tiring, and I think I was kind of holding myself back at some points of like, oh, I check myself of am I being polite or proper or whatever? And it took more mental energy to keep up with that. Instead of just like cutting loose and
You know,
being
it
like,
is.
if
No,
it
it's
was
just
with my
exhausting.
family, I
Yeah.
would just do whatever. And that was what I reminded him of. You would probably be uncomfortable if you were with my family for a week too. So,
Oh, yeah,
like,
just
because
your
we're
mom.
completely opposite. Yeah.
All it would take is just your mom to make him feel uncomfortable, I think.
I feel like, yeah, she already made him feel uncomfortable. And he was like, I get the whole your mom thing. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember one Christmas we went to like the rich relative's house, and so they had this nice big plantation home, of course, in middle of rednecks, southern where was it, Kentucky, and we're there, and they're doing a white Christmas or white elephant or whatever, where
Oh
you.
God, I hate those, but
Yeah, I
that's,
hate this because I don't. Okay, I'm as I've said many times,
you're
I
not
hate
festive.
tradition. Yeah, I don't. I have no sense of whimsy. I hate traditions, and I hate participating. I am not a participator. I don't want to be part of it. Leave me the fuck alone. But of course, we had to bring gifts to pass around the white elephant, and then I'm kind of standing in the back. There's probably like 25 people there, and I only knew the names of like four of them. And I'm hiding all the way in the back, and I'm just kind of almost around a corner.
Don't
Like
pick
I'm
me type
yeah,
of vibe.
basically, just like I don't want to be in, but like summertime, Amy was like, "Oh, Adam, where's Adam? Adam, it's your turn to come pick a gift." I'm like, "No, I'm okay. You guys pass on without me." And I managed to like, I go to the bathroom. You guys go ahead. Then I would like disappear, and then like eventually, like Adam, you have to come get a gift, and like they would force me to go in and be involved in this bullshit. And I was like, I don't want to be part of your traditions. I don't like this shit, and I was always so frustrated with it. I would just whenever I open, I'd be like, okay, I'm fine with whatever this is. I don't want to trade
I
it.
don't
I'm
want to
so
trip. Yeah.
I don't give a shit. Like, please stop involving me in these things. So yes, I can understand. But
I
I'm
could not
of
do
course the
so.
extreme. I am very much I'm so anti anything.
See, like I would be saying, "Oh, I don't really want to play games," or I would kind of whisper to Master, "I don't really want to play." And then he's like, "Just one game," and I'm like, "Fine, I'll play." And then I ended up having
Yeah,
fun, but I was like, "I
right.
literally just want to do one and done. I don't want to do more. Thank you, but I'm done."
It's interesting. Well, you guys will develop the figure out tools for making it so you both have fun over the like both have the same level of fun over the years. I think, and
Hmm.
you make your own traditions too is a big part of it. I think that's I always enjoyed. I didn't mind having everybody over for holidays as we progressed in our like in Amy and I's marriage because I could cook, and then I could cook everything, and then I could hide in the kitchen. I could bring all
Ah,
the food and be like, "Okay, I'll be right back," and then go in the kitchen and start doing dishes and like actually like stay away from everybody, and I wouldn't have to be part of it, and I still got to, create the tradition. So that was good for me, and they would let me do that, which was nice.
well, yeah,
But
because you're doing instead of just sitting in your room on your phone or something, you're actually doing
yes,
something that no one else wants to do. So they're not going to stop you.
exactly. Okay, this is completely off topic, but
Oh
it's funny. So,
God.
so one of the first times that I ever went viral on the internet was when I did a dance contest against another like overweight male blogger.
Of
Okay, and
course.
this was probably God, I want to say this was 2004, 2005, and we had a dance off, and I recorded a dance off of me dancing to Milkshake. My
I
milkshake
feel
brings all the
like I
pussy.
might have
Oh,
seen
I'm pretty
this.
sure you've seen this. I'm pretty sure you've seen this, and yeah,
You're shirtless dancing?
no, I'm not shirtless. No,
No?
no, no. I'm wearing a black shirt, but I'm in my office and I'm dancing, and it's terrible dancing, but it's like funny because I'm just fat and dancing basically. So and it got like literally like it got so many views. It broke 100,000 views on YouTube, and then YouTube took it down because of the song, and I had to re-upload all this stuff. But anyways, I remember when I actually recorded that. I recorded it over Christmas when Amy had all of her family there, and they were all out just like sitting there staring at each other like they like to do with no like actual interaction, just in this weird Southern way. And so I excused myself, went to my office, shut my door, and I was like, I got to do this dance video. So I was doing it in complete silence. I was dancing to no music because it was so quiet out there. I couldn't have music playing because they're trying to be wonder what I was doing. They just figured I was working. So I'm literally like sitting there dancing in complete silence. And if you're watching on YouTube, maybe I'll try to stick that clip in here so you can watch it. But yeah, it's ridiculous. No sound, and then I just added in this track later.
So you definitely weren't on beat with anything.
But not in any way whatsoever. But that's not surprising. I have no rhythm at all.
Oh,
There's
okay.
there's a new TikTok thing that's all about like this rhythm thing that you do, and I can't do it. Like it's like where you like hit your fist together and
Oh,
everything.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Dun, 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 dun,
yep,
dun. Yeah.
yeah, that one, yeah. And I tried to do it and I couldn't even do it, so I just made fun of myself with it. So anyway, so you survived going to Maine.
I did
Um,
survive going to Maine, except for the ride back. Our flight got canceled.
oh
Well,
right,
okay, it didn't get canceled. There were because of the shortage of people working at the airport, it delayed our flight from leaving Portland, which then well, it fucked up our ability to catch our connecting flight. So we got stuck in Detroit for a night. And we got to our hotel around like midnight, but on the plane too, we were kind of being a little frisky. It might have been because Master of None told me the story about how he got head on an airplane, and then I was like,
Right, right.
hmm. So we ended up sitting next to each other on the ride into Detroit from Portland, and there were people around, but it was dark or whatever. So I was just kind of, an over the pants hand job, if you will, of just like rubbing on the D. And I was like, oh, this is the friskiest I've ever been in an airplane. But it wasn't like anything too crazy by any means. It was just a subtle, nudge. And, he got a little hard. And I was like, yeah, this is great. And then we got off the plane. That's when we realized we missed the flight. We had to fucking stay in Detroit, blah, blah, blah. We finally figure everything out, and we get on this bus that was going to take that took us to the hotel that we were going to stay at. And it's, midnight at this point, and in the bus there's really high seats in front and behind us, and we were
Right.
in like that middle seat, and there's no one on the left or right of us, so we're just sitting there. And I'm like, you know what? This is the fucking perfect time to just give him a hand job. So at first, I kept up with the things I was doing in the airplane, which is, just a little rub. And I was like, I feel safe. I feel like this is a safe space right now, and he's cool with it. So let me just whip his dick out in this fucking bus and give him a little rub, a little rub, and then put it back. And then when I got
That was
scared
all
that
you did?
I couldn't, okay, I wasn't gonna fully jerk his ass off in the bus. What was I
Just
gonna
bend
do
down
with
on
it?
him. What do he could have put a
No,
blanket over your head or
I
something.
mean, there were people right behind me, but like it was a high seat with like the head, the
They
headrest
couldn't
was pretty
tell.
high. They probably, I don't know. I had a feeling at one point when his dick was literally in my fucking hand out of his pants, and I'm like, oh shit, oh shit. We were probably fine, but I was just very nervous about it. So, I gave a little hand job for, maybe I don't know how many minutes. It wasn't very long, but I was very proud of myself because that's not something that I
Maybe
would
you
do.
should change your Instagram bio from dating coach to bus station hand job giver.
Oh,
Bus station masturbator.
bus. It wasn't a bus station though. I was
I'm
on
sorry.
said bus. Okay, there's a difference.
Bu-
Automotive hand jobber. I don't
Bus
know.
jerker.
Bus jerker.
Sa-
Sure.
Sarah G, dating coach and bus jerker.
Bus jerker.
I like that.
But yeah, that was
Well,
that
that's
was the other that was to end out the trip,
well,
just
yeah. Well, that's good. That's very nice.
yeah.
And then you guys had a hotel room, so you could just have fun in the hotel room.
Man, we had to get up at 4 in the fucking morning to then catch our flight. That was at 7 a.m. and it was already midnight by the time we got in, so we didn't fuck or anything, which I was like, "Yeah." And then I got in bed and said, "No,
No.
that's not." But he did record this fucking awful video. I wasn't gonna say this, but so I was peeing in the bathroom in the hotel room like one does, but I didn't
Yes.
feel like closing the door because I don't
Sure.
know, but I was completely naked, and he just walks in and he's like, "Aren't you gonna close the door?" And I'm like, "No, I mean, it's just fucking you and
Yeah.
whatever." And I was like, and I could see myself in the mirror because the doors were the slide door for the bathroom was open or whatever. And he whips out his phone and just starts fucking recording me peeing naked on the toilet. And I just immediately like duck on the ground. I'm like, stop it right now. And then I'm trying to like grab the door to close it. And he has like a whole other video where I'm like, can you fucking not? And like I try to close it. But yeah, that's about as much action as
And
what
if you're
happened.
watching this on YouTube, I'm going to put those videos in right here.
You're not gonna get those videos. So yeah, that's
Uh,
that's a no. That's a no. I mean, there was you
that'd be
could just tell I'm
hilarious.
naked because I
Right,
just
right.
completely hunch over and you could just see
Well,
like
he
my
already sent it to me. What are you talking about? He already texted a message to me through
oh
Instagram.
great, you guys are that close.
Yeah,
Great,
we're
love
we're,
that.
we're good buddies now, don't you know?
Cool.
I feel like that should go on your OnlyFans, basically.
You can't see anything though.
No,
It's just my back and then me covering my
it's a
boobs like
suggestion.
stop it. Don't look at my boobs. Or don't
Oh my
record
God.
my boobs.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah, so I'll let him keep the video. I don't really care. I'm like, just don't fucking share. I guess, yeah, don't share that with Adam.
just don't share that with Adam.
You can visualize it, but
Because
yeah,
Adam
I,
will make
I
a
don't want
meme
that
out
video
of it.
out.
Adam will set it to music. Adam will do whatever.
Yo, you would though. You
I
fucking
know.
would.
I know. It's all for marketing the podcast.
Ugh. Anyways,
every inch
so
of your life, basically, is what we do.
just shit on me every day. But yeah, so that was pretty much it, and yeah, just
Good. Well,
hanging out.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And are you going to? I guess you're not going to travel with a family again, so we know that. That's a new
That is
lesson we've
correct.
learned.
Yeah.
And you guys are still at some point going to work onto the whole moving in together, and we're going to go through all that when that happens, right?
October is now the pushed
Okay.
out deadline, so it's dependent on a couple other things. But I will say I would do another trip with his family, but I would prefer either one to have a car or two to have a separate hotel. Like if it was somewhere other than Maine and we
Sure.
were doing a family thing, I would prefer us to have our separate hotel room on a different floor, not right next. You know what I mean? Because it was
Right.
also
Right.
like I wanted to fuck a lot, and I was like, damn it, I can't really like the walls in this cabin. I mean, I was just very worried about it. Like we turned on the sound machine, we like turned on the fan, whatever, to try to make some
That's
noise. But I was like, I'm fucking loud. Like I just am, and I worry about like your sister hearing when she goes to the bathroom or whatever. But he's like, I don't fucking care. It's fine. I'm like, I fucking care. Your family already fucking probably hates me at this point. I'm the loudmouth. And then they're hearing me come. I think not. I think the
They'd
fuck
probably
no.
just be like, "Hey, good job."
I don't I don't think so.
They'd be like,
I would be
"Good job, Master
mortified.
of None.
I would be mortified
Good to
if they
see that
fucking
you're
heard
doing a
that.
good job."
Awkward. His sister probably wouldn't care, but like his mom and
Yeah.
dad, that's like a different level. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
absolutely. Yeah. No, I don't think anybody wants that. Nobody
Yeah.
wants
Like
to think
my
about the.
mom,
Yeah.
talking about it with my mom wouldn't care. My dad, I would. Like there's certain parents where like, yeah, those were not the parents that were be cool with
No.
shit like that. No.
No, they're not. But yeah. So that's good then. Yeah. Next time, just get a separate space. You guys go on vacation together. You do your own thing at the same time. Then that makes it more manageable and survivable.
Mhm.
Because
Get together
otherwise,
for dinner and breakfast, and then
yeah.
if during the week of a trip you all have a big group activity, but for the most part stay separate and do your own thing. that's
That,
that's my ideal situation.
well, and it's funny because so right now I'm in Utah. I'm in right outside Salt Lake City in a little town called Midway, which is where my parents live, and I'm stopped in here on my journeys. My mother was just having some major surgery, and so I figured I'd come and I'd help out. But last time I was here was a few years ago, and I was working on a book, and I was here for almost a month, and I realized that was a little too long because I didn't have a car. I had flown in, and renting a car was too expensive because it was the middle of winter here in Utah, when so all the cars were just
Everybody comes here or
yeah.
there.
So I had rented one for like a couple days, but other than that, I had no car. I was relying on them, and it was driving me absolutely crazy because I was only able to do whatever they wanted to do. And this time it's a little bit different because now I do have a car here, so I come up, I'm staying here. I'll do some work. I'll get on the computer. I can shut the door and then be like, all right, I'm gonna go out and grab some food, or I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
go
go
out
to a
just to.
bar.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go drive somewhere into the mountains alone. Like the other morning, I woke up at like 5:30 in the morning and I was couldn't sleep, and I was like, you know what, I want to go see what the sunrise looks like in the mountains. So I just hopped in the car, and it was nice. It was nice to be able to just get away because otherwise it would absolutely drive me crazy just to sit around and not be able to do anything, have no control over what I could do, basically. That's
Mhm.
that's never any fun.
Yep, understood. Yep, agreed.
Yes, but yeah. So I haven't done any dating since we've talked.
Any hand jobs? No.
No, only the self-inflicted ones. I was in. Was I in Clarksville last time we did the episode?
You were in
So I
Clarksville,
had
yeah.
a little rant about Clarksville, and
Thank God
since
we
then,
don't need to cover that again. No.
I know. Since then, I was in Kansas and right outside Kansas City. Had a good time there. Visited with a friend that I hadn't seen in years, and then I went to Colorado. I was outside Boulder and traveled, but I didn't actually and actually met up with a listener, Tracy, who is very very active in our group, and we probably known each other online for years. So that was fun getting to actually meet in person. Went to a little dive bar and closed the whole bar out by the end of the night, and that was a good time. It took me a day to recover from that. I will say
Typical
that.
Adam fashion. There you
Oh
go.
yeah, absolutely. And then now I'm in Salt Lake City, so I've been kind of traveling around, but I have not had many dating experiences. I've been on dating apps, but it's been what am I don't know. Like if I feel social, then maybe I'll go out and meet somebody. I'm here in Salt Lake City or in the Salt Lake City area for a couple weeks, so I'll probably go out and meet somebody for drinks, just to have somebody to meet up with. But
But no expectation of having what you had in North Carolina?
North
South
Carolina.
Carolina?
No, nothing like
North
that. That
Carolina?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That that turned into something that was really fun and and surprising. But I think that is going to be more unique and rare, and not anything that I really want to put any effort into while I'm like new ones because anything new because it's just it's expensive and it takes time that I don't have. So I've got too many other things I want to do.
You could have sex with somebody who's of the Mormon faith if you're up for it.
I mean, that would be a fun thing to try to corrupt some
I
from
don't know. I'm just thinking of
from
ideas here. Things to
LDS.
do in
Yes,
Utah. I don't know.
yes, to go from LDS to DSL.
I don't know.
Does that make sense? LDS to
No,
dick sucking
no.
lips. That's what I was trying to go with that. Latter Day
Oh.
Saints to DSL. I don't know. No. Yes, that would be kind of fun to do that. But most of the people that I see on dating apps make it very clear that
Oh,
they're non
really? They
LDS.
have that in their profile?
Oh yeah.
Definitely not Mormon. Da da da
Yes,
da
yeah,
da.
they're like not
Wow.
LDS, and you can tell that they were former LDS sometimes because they're like not LDS, 8 children, and you're like, oh, you used to be Mormon, and then you realize you didn't want to be anymore. But
Oh, see, when you said LDS, I had no idea what the fuck you were
oh,
talking
Latter Day
about.
Saints,
I
that's
was like,
Mormon.
wait, what kind of sex terminology is this that I don't understand?
No, it's the Church of Latter Day Saints. That's the Mormon Church.
Mm.
So yes, LDS is what they go for the short way of describing them, just like DKS.
Oh, don't
There we
correlate
go.
those two.
There we go.
Stop
I
it.
want to
Stop.
convert an LDS to a DKS. There we go.
There you go. Okay. Well, keep us posted
But
if that happens, but I highly doubt it. But
yeah, and by the time we do our next episode, I don't know if I'll still be here or not. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to continue traveling. And if you are a listener who lives in the Northwest and you want to meet up, you can always let me know too, because I'll be up in the Pacific Northwest after this.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
and I'm
guess
always down to meet up and go to a bar and drink.
that is very true because you can't really drink there without ordering food, right?
Yeah. Yes, and you can't drink. That's the interesting thing. So you can't drink and you can't do doubles. They don't do doubles,
In
and
Utah. Just
yes,
the
in
whole
Utah.
state or just
I
Salt
think it's
Lake
the whole
City?
state. No, I think it's the whole state. You can't, and you can do a single, and you can do a shot of a different liquor. So basically, I have to order like a vodka Red Bull and a shot of gin, and then just pour the gin into it because gin and vodka are pretty similar, close enough, basically. And then usually, most places you have to have food ordered as well. So it's an interesting, weird, fucking state. And all of the drinks, everything, every bar has like actual like a state required cover on every bottle, so when it pours exactly an ounce. Like,
What?
yeah, like they can't overpour if they wanted to.
What?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They have a cup. Wait, so hang on. So on the bottle, there's a like a limit
Well, yeah, because
as
it's
you.
I think it's like because usually like it usually has like a pour spout, and this is like a special pour spout that Utah develops that only
Oh
pours an
my
ounce at a
God.
time, and so it's like you pour it, it's just 1 ounce immediately, and then it stops pouring. Yeah, and every bar I've ever been to here does that. So they have to be very precise.
What in the hell forsaken place are you
Oh
in?
yeah, I know.
Meanwhile, I was like, ooh, I might want to move to Salt Lake City. And then you're like, hell no, Sarah, don't do it.
If you drink wine, they're probably no problem. They probably don't even like you can probably just drink glasses of wine without an issue, and you don't drink that much anyway, so you'd be fine.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Well,
Yeah, it is. It really is. I mean, it's a beautiful state, but not somewhere that I can see myself living. That's for damn sure.
mm. Well, on that note, let's take a
Have you tried
break.
to say that like 3 times? I feel like you've tried to say on
I
that.
have tried, and then I'm like, oh, fine, let's keep
I'll
fucking
just keep
talking, I guess.
talking.
Whatever.
All
Come
right.
on, Adam, wrap it up.
Well, on that note, why don't we go ahead and take a break?
Oh,
So this topic about dating coaches came from an email that we got, actually multiple emails, because we get a lot of emails. A lot of people ask advice. We get a lot of emails, dating kind of sucks podcast at gmail.com. People email us questions. We get weird pitches for different products that, shows that they don't actually listen to the podcast at all. Cause it's like, dear
hi,
dating.
dating.
Yeah. Hi dating. Hi, Mr. Kinda Sucks. It's just like, oh yeah, obviously you guys don't listen.
Literally.
But we do get a lot from, I feel like a lot from dating coaches, and they're usually dating coaches for men. They usually, I'd say most of them are like men who coach other men on dating, and they're like, I'd love to be on your podcast. I think would have great content that would align with yours, which tells me immediately when they say that usually that they don't listen to our podcast, because if they did, they probably wouldn't think that. So now we'll usually go through their website and look at their stuff
You're like, oh shit, this person's toxic as fuck. Delete and never
yeah,
respond to. Oh my God, this person calls themselves a dating coach. I feel bad for the people they help. Like, what the fuck?
exactly. So I don't think we've seen one yet where we went like, oh, yeah, he'd be great for the podcast to have as a guest. Not that we have guests, although that's something eventually we're going to do. But so I was like, we need to do an episode just on why you need to stop worrying about dating coaches. You need to avoid dating coaches, and they're not good for you in general. And that's what I thought would be a good topic idea.
Yeah, I think well, I'm gonna mention this a lot, but I think from the dating coaches I've seen on TikTok to the
Oh
ones
God.
that I
Yeah.
mean that's a whole nother subgenre of dating coaches that we can get into that I know you're gonna have a
I
strong
have a
opinion on.
whole rant brewing about this right now, I'm just
I
saying.
know. I'm like, Adam, give me space to talk because I know you're gonna go off for 5 minutes on these shitty people. But it's the mentality of I'm the coach, I'm right. Here's your playbook. Take it, follow each step, and you'll win.
Yeah.
And it goes back to like you were saying off air of the goal of coaches. When you have a coach, you think a sport or a dance coach or something, not a life coach or a dating coach. It's so ambiguous because people aren't no two people act the same in
Yep.
certain situations versus a sporting event is like I can show you how to kick this ball to get it into the goal. Like there's a different
And if
level of
you're in it to win, you're already losing.
right, exactly, exactly. So people when they think, "Oh, I'm going to work with a dating coach," they give them this like how-to guide of how to get the girl or how to successfully have a first, second, third date and it's like, "Okay." And I think it might work more on younger people or just people who are more vulnerable and they're like feeling really depressed about dating in general, so they feel like they need this extra help. So they follow these steps and then it doesn't work and it's because yeah, you're following for the most part, pretty toxic advice and you're not paying attention to the person that you're actually dating. You're more worried in the back of your mind of am I following rule number 3? Did I do the next follow-up point after that? And no two people are going to react the same to whatever tactic you're following from your coach.
Exactly. And I think that the worst aspect of this, and I mean, half of my TikTok content is stitching these so-called dating coaches and calling them out for their bullshit content. There are these guys, and there are too many of these guys who have like 100,000 followers, 200, 300,000 followers on TikTok. And all they're doing is trying to like give tips and tricks on men how to get women. And they're all terrible. Every single one of them has terrible advice. Every single one of them is either misogynistic or objectifying or or puts women up on pedestals, which is just as bad, gives terrible advice on what to do in any situation, and usually they also just don't even seem to understand basic relationship dynamics. And it's all about I think that if you're going to have a coach, if you're going to have someone who actually is going to help you, they should help you be a better person. The goal of
Amen.
any type of coach is not here's how you trick somebody into liking you. Here's how, but instead here's how you become a better person. And this reminds me of like when I was younger and I was very self-conscious about my weight. And I used to think about, well, I wish there was just like a hypnosis thing that I could listen to that would like just train me to to no longer want to eat, food and would somehow lose weight that way because I just was lazy. And I didn't actually know, okay, well, if I actually want to lose weight, I have to do this and do this and do this. And then I also have to understand that some body types are some body types and all these other things to be the best version of me. I want to take the easy route out. Anybody who's using a dating coach is trying to use the easy route out. They're trying to go the easy path. They don't want to do the work to be a better person because there is one coach like there's if you and I were actual dating coaches, we would just tell people be better.
I
Like
mean, that's
that's
what I think
really it
like
is.
yeah, I have dating coach in my Instagram bio, but the first thing I'm going to ask is what kind of work have you done on yourself recently? That would be my first fucking question. And I think it's like two paths you can take to being a dating coach. If you're going to hire a dating coach or work on yourself, like the left is work on yourself, the right is hire a dating coach to just bypass. In your mind, you're thinking you're going to bypass all the other shit to get to the end goal of being in a relationship. But those two things, like, you can't have a relationship without working on yourself. Like, it can't exist without working on yourself.
100%, because even if any of those tips and tricks from dating coaches work, and they never do, in the end, if you manage to trick a woman into dating you, you are still a little neckbeard incel who doesn't know how to do anything in the long run. So you're still not a better person, and you're not somebody that's going to have any longevity in your relationships. And
That might
that's
be
the
true.
issue.
Yeah.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
and it's not always male dating coaches either. Like, there are some women out there who give really toxic dating advice to subject to whatever a man wants, to
true.
shape, like, to look a certain way, to act a certain way so a man will want to be with you. And it's like, that's fucking toxic as well. Like, you should just want to be you and the right person will follow. But that's really never the main for the people who are really there are okay, let me backtrack. There are people on Instagram who do give that advice of be yourself, know who you are, that will attract this,
Yep.
yada yada. But the ones that have the higher following count, that have more of like of a presence, that show up at least on my feed, they're spewing out toxic shit, and it's women spewing out shit where I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, people are listening to this, and I'm like, does she get more credibility because she's a woman? So people are like, oh well, she's not a toxic man spewing advice. It's just a woman doing it, so it's not the same thing. And I'm
Right.
like, it's still the same advice that dick bag is giving. She's just a
Dick
woman.
bags.
I mean, it's
Well,
the same shit advice.
I've seen it. I've actually seen what I've seen with it. The difference in it that I've seen is that men coaching men tell them how to, kind of like fake confidence and how to avoid women's like pitfalls, essentially. Whereas women coaching women in the toxic way tend to focus on almost like supporting their insecurities, like supporting, like be jealous and be, make sure that he knows that he can't do things wrong. Like, and so like it focuses on the toxic aspects of that relationship. So they both focus on toxic aspects. And I think when it comes to dating, this is the problem with dating coaches. This is the actual inherent problem with the dating coach completely, is that if your goal in life is to be in a relationship, you're already doing it wrong.
Amen.
Because
Yep.
that's when you are so fucking desperate that you're just trying to be with anyone. You don't care because you're so terrified of being alone that you don't know how to be alone. So you have to be with somebody. So then you go to these dating coaches because you've decided your goal is to how to date. When instead your goal should be, how do I be the best person that I can be? And when you are, you're going to attract people who are worth your time, and you will actually have the self confidence. You'll have the fact that you enjoy being single, you'll have the actual joy of just yourself, that you won't settle, and you'll have the ability to choose people who are good for you when it's right for you, because you won't be desperate and pathetic.
And I think the reason why these dating coaches attack I'm here, like, this is their slogan. I'm here to help you find true love. It's something as cheesy as
Yeah.
that, right?
Yep.
Because think about it. From a marketing standpoint, they have to attract the bottom of the barrel people who want that. They're not elevating themselves as coaches. They know that they can attract those types of people by just using that line, because they know that they're not going to work on themselves, and it's a quick buck to just spew out, here, download my ebook for $9.99 and you'll get all the tips you need to be the best man in a relationship, like, instead of being the best person. You know what I mean? And then
Uh-huh.
it cultivates this, I'm part of this tribe, and I'm, with this vibe of working with this coach, and I'm like, oh, like, if you're joining anything to be part of their tribe, there's probably an issue in that in itself. So check that.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like, if there were, and I'm gonna just talk about men coaching men. If men dating coaches were to say, listen, men, we're garbage. We do these things wrong. We have male privilege. We come from a toxic. There's a lot of toxic masculinity. We need to do better. Here's how we become better men. If they had said that, and they started off with this thing, they wouldn't have any followers, because men hear that like, oh, they get
I'm
defensive and they get
fine
shitty.
already.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah.
How dare another
Basically,
man tell me that I need to be better? I'm fine as is. And then they're never going to get fucking clients.
because I've done that. So I did a TikTok that was like, "Men, be better. Here are some things you should do to be better men." And every man that commented was like, "Oh, he's a pick me," which is like a new phrase that people use. To like, I hope she picks you," is what it is. So they call them pick me's. So it's basically like I'm saying these things just to try to get some woman's attention. That's my goal in saying these things. And so
Because
everyone's
you're
like,
not
"Oh,
genuine.
oh no, because I'm anti-man, so I only must be saying these things because I'm trying to kiss a woman's ass so that she actually finds me
That's a
attractive."
sub. That's like
So
their
there's this
sub
whole thing
thought to
called
that.
pick me. They're pick me, yeah. So I get called a pick me all the time, or they'll just say, "I hope she picks you,"
Interesting.
or a simp. A simp is another phrase, again, another word that people use a lot, which is essentially like like I'm essentially someone who's simping is like I'm just trying to kiss ass. To like it's almost like white knighting in that way.
You're
So
just trying to simp. You're trying to simp to then get a woman's sympathy.
no, simp. I don't know where the origin of it is. It's simp, like simp. Like yeah, you're just a simp. Yeah. I don't know, where that actually came from, but yeah, and
What the
so
fuck?
like this is when I took the actual time to try to say, look, here's how. Forget dating coaches. Here's how you can try to be better. And men are like, no, I don't want to hear that. They're covering their ears and stomping their feet and throwing little temper tantrums because we know that when men get emotional, they can't handle things. Men are very emotional creatures, and so I think that dating coaches are afraid to do that, and that's the big problem.
Well, they need money. That
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, that's their profession. So, from a marketing standpoint, you think I attack or prey on the people who think a certain way. I can use these slogans. It's going to be easy to make more money because if I have to tell them to take a step back to work on themselves before they work with me, they're probably not going to do that and then they're probably not going to become a client. And they're not looking at it, and I can't speak for all dating coaches out there, but I'm sure a handful or more are not looking at the I'm doing this or I'm in this quote unquote business to help other people.
right,
That it might not be the sole reason. Like I have a friend, she's not a life coach. She focuses on meditation, she focuses on like self-improvement and like just other lifestyle things, but she's never once called herself a life coach or anything like that, but she believes in just bettering your mindset and things like that. But her goal isn't ever to make a quick buck. Obviously, like this is what she does for a living, but it's
right,
like
right.
I want to help you. Like honestly just help you. And she's a very genuine person where I'm like I can't afford your prices because it's very high. But like if I could, I might be interested in just kind of doing a quick course on whatever to better myself. It's not the end goal is to be a better person, not to get
Which is
something.
good. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I have no problem with people who are life coaches when they're not toxic life coaches, but the good ones, because they're just trying to help people be better versions of themselves, which is all that a dating coach should be trying to do, so that they can decide if they want to date or not. Like, how about you learn to even like yourself before you try to figure out if other people are going to want to like you? And
But people
because
will pay for, "Hey, I want my profile fixed. Hey, I want you to tell me what I should do in this situation. I want you to do a play-by-play of how I should approach fucking this person after X
yeah,
date." I mean, people want that playbook, and that's where the coach terminology I think comes in is they want a playbook of what to do.
and men want an easy tips and tricks, and women don't like to focus on their insecurity. As I found like that's the two like kind of toxic areas that I think it really boils down to. Men want to trick women, and women don't want to like they don't want to be told that that's insecure and unhealthy.
That's
They
true of
they
like
they want they want that, yeah, the
think about the
codependency.
codependency of like, oh, that's codependent. No, it's not. And it is. And it's an issue in their life, but they don't want to address those negative feelings and thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that and then these men who've just always had bad experiences in dating and are just want to like look for some easy solution. The easy solution is go to therapy. That's your easy solution. Go to therapy, work on yourself. But they don't want to do that. So then they do these stupid things. And so here are some of the things that I've heard from dating coaches that are just absolutely ridiculous. Like
Give it
number
to me.
one is that if you want to catch fish, you're not going to ask the fish how to catch them. You're going to ask a fisherman.
Okay, keep going.
This is just this whole concept that first of all, that women are fish that you need to catch like that. But secondly, you're not going to ask the fish how to catch them. You have to ask, a man. You can't ask the woman how to, whatever. So because one thing dating coaches definitely do is they don't want you listening to other people. So they make sure that they're isolating you. Don't listen to what women have to say. Never listen to what women say what they want, because, they're just fish, and you can't, you don't want to listen to them about it, which is just
Think think
terrible.
of think about this for a second. You're only focused on what a man is telling you about women. How the fuck is that relationship going to be successful? When
Of
the
course.
dating coach is stripped away, you've paid your dues, you're not going to work with a coach anymore. You have the woman, and then you're just like, woman not do what I want. I don't understand. Like, what the fuck?
Like, I only wish I knew what she wanted. And she's sitting there saying, I'm trying to tell you, but you won't listen to me because I'm just a fish to you. Because that's your mentality. And it's the
Why's it
same
gotta be
guys.
fish also? Why's it gotta be fish? I was gonna say eat
Yeah,
fish, and I was like, why's it gotta hey, why we gotta go like that? Come on, man. I feel like that's toxic as well now that I
Oh,
just
it
thought through that.
absolutely is. And those are the same guys that are like telling about how women don't. This other thing they do. Women don't actually like the guys with dad bods. They like guys that look like us, and it's always like guys that are like go to the gym 7 days a week, work out 2 hours a day, and like they're always flexing in the mirror, not realizing that they're not doing that for women. That's a complete thing. Those men are only working out for other men. That's all. This whole
Oh,
like
absolutely.
this whole subdued homoeroticism that they have, that a lot of them don't understand, that they're trying to impress men, because some women find that body type attractive, yes, but generally women don't find that gym bro personality attractive in any way. But these guys are like, this is what women want, because look at me, why wouldn't don't you want me, is what basically they're saying to the men.
All these
Do,
guys wanna fuck me, so
yeah,
obviously
exactly.
this fish in this stupid pond wants to fuck
Look at
me
these
too.
cum gutters I got in my six pack. Don't you want these? Yeah.
Cum gutters?
Yeah, I learned that from Rick and Morty. They call them cum gutters. I don't know, the six
Oh
pack.
my god.
When two guys are together and they jerk off, and it just like goes like down the six pack, like cum, like yeah, yeah.
What the fuck?
Just learned something today. You're
I
welcome.
did a cum gutter. Thank
Yes.
you for that.
So
Okay.
then, yes. So anyway, so that's some things I've heard. There are a couple of things I want to, as the all the pickup artist stuff, like all of it, like everything is all from the same three books that were in the 1980s that nobody should ever pay attention to. The things like negging, where you try to mix a compliment with a with some type of insult at the same time, so that like
So
it
to attract her
makes her
more. Oh
defensive.
yes.
Yeah, it makes her like defensive and want to impress you. And all this like stuff about playing it as a game. Listen, everybody's seen all the movies. They know all these things. And if you're trying to do it, you're just a stupid asshole is all you are. And any dating coach who tries to like it drives me crazy. I'll see these dating coaches who are like, here's some tips you don't know, and then says the same three things that every other dating coach does, and he thinks he's dropping some knowledge bombs, and they're not. They're just giant turds that he's dropping instead.
And it's not be yourself, communicate, have a
Yeah,
positive mindset going into
exactly.
yeah, work on yourself. Yeah, it's never the actual it's not the hard work that they focus on. It's the easy check boxes to hit instead of you can't put a timeline on self-reflection and self-improvement, but you can put a timeline on creating a profile, putting a good bio together, and
Yep.
asking someone out with these 4 or 5 lines that are guaranteed to work. You can and that's how you get paid. That's how you set a timeline for your end of the month bills are due, your beginning of the month bills are due.
Yeah.
It's business. And there's honestly, and now I'm going to go on a rant. There's no criteria for what it takes to be a coach. Whether that's not always to shit on every single coach out there, but like for a lifestyle coach, for a dating coach, there's not a fucking certification. Yeah, some people have their degree in psychology, or like you and I, we talk about dating and we've been doing
Right.
it, and so we do have some experience, but for the most part there's not some standard for what it takes to be a coach of how many hours you have to invest like you would if you wanted to be a fucking doctor or dental hygienist or whatever. So there is like this like anybody could be a coach.
Yeah.
Anybody listening, if you want to be a dating coach because you've listened to every single fucking episode of our podcast and you've learned a lot, you too can become a dating coach. Or you can just become a dating coach because you want the SEO benefits on your Instagram like I am doing. Like it's stupid, and it
Right.
tricks people who are vulnerable and really wanting just the end goal to fall for some of those tricks.
And it's usually just some idiot who's been divorced 3 times and has never held a healthy relationship, who has his associates in PE from like some shitty college in New Jersey, that decides he's going to become a dating coach and try to tell men how to pick up women because when he was in high school, he used to get laid a lot. And that's like, it's
Oh
that is,
yeah, because he's obviously a
and now
winner.
he's, yeah, now he's like, he's got all these tips. Um, there's this whole concept too, and this is all related to the men's rights movements and bullshit like that. This whole alpha beta thing with like the alpha male and the beta male, and
Because the world is changing so fast, and us white men don't have privilege like we used to. Because all the women are taking it, and everybody else is just chipping away. I
I
mean,
know they lose a little equality, and it sounds like it feels like oppression to them. And they have this whole like alpha men don't do this and beta men don't do this. Well, this whole alpha beta concept that was actually written about years ago was later debunked by the author who wrote it. Came out and said, "Oh yeah, I was wrong about that, by the way. Just so you know, I was wrong." But nobody listens to him saying he's wrong. They use this as like this code, and then they ignore what the alpha. It was supposed to be like wolves, as it is alpha, beta, and everything, like the alpha male of a pack. But then you look at the reality of it. The alpha male of a pack actually cares for the entire pack, including the injured ones, including the children, including, and
a
actually
team player.
provides for all of them. Yeah, Whereas like what I've seen in these videos, like alpha, beta males are afraid of, avoid confrontation. Beta males are going to take a woman's side, and shit like that. And I'm like, that's just
The
being an
fuck.
adult. Yeah,
Well, it's like I gotta puff out my chest to get the next best woman around because fucking survival of the fittest or whatever the fuck kind of bullshit.
And why does every single person who thinks that they're an alpha male, and every single one of these people, always look like they are basically were like a failed third trimester abortion?
I was
And
gonna say on roids, but okay.
like they all look like they are the lowest on the human totem pole. Like they are somebody that if you walked by them in the street, you would give them $1, even if they were just dressed in a suit, because they just look so
Damn.
sad and pathetic that you have to imagine that they just are losers in every capacity. And they are. These are people whose mothers don't even like them because they still have to bleach the shit stains out of their underwear. Like these are people who are the lowest of the low, and they think that they're like, I'm an alpha male. I'm like, dude, you're not even an alpha thing. Like you're a zeta. Like what's below Z? Is there anything below there? Does it go to numbers? You're like a 99 then. And yeah, anyways. Sorry.
So what would you so obviously we're not a fan of dating
No.
coaches, but what would you say to someone and we've already touched on this, but what would you say to someone who might be considering a dating coach or some more professional setting dating help or advice that they would
The
be willing to pay for?
Don't pay for it.
So what do you say
There's so
to
much free shit out there. People talk to us sometimes. People talk to us sometimes and say, "Why don't you guys charge for this and charge for that?" And
this
and
is
we
true.
and we could. I mean, I think that we could. I know that we give good advice, and I know that we have good input into things, and and we could probably charge people to help write their dating profiles, and actually maybe that is something at some point we'll do, but we also like to give all of this information for free because this is information that anybody can find. This isn't like some special hidden trove that only we have
That you
access
can
to.
win at dating, yeah, or you
Right.
can win at life and find love. Yeah, it's like everyone should want to be happy in life and find love, whether they're, whether they well, not whether they want it or not, but if you want it, you can work towards that with self-reflection and whatever.
Right. And I think that if you are trying to do better and you want to date because you are lonely, well, you should work on that first. First, let's work on why are you lonely? What is it that you don't like about being in your own space first? Work on that. Go to therapy, learn to like yourself, learn to love yourself, and that helps. That's a first step.
Mhm.
And then after that, then start, building some self-confidence. It is all about self-confidence. And that is one thing that those dating coaches tend to get right, is they all talk about your self-confidence. But there's a difference between self-confidence and being an arrogant asshole. Being self-confident means that you know that you're worth something, and you know that when you find somebody who's worth something, that you might have a connection. Being an arrogant asshole is, I'm worth something. These people are all shit. They should, bow down and suck my dick.
Like
That's
when someone responds, "Oh, I'm not that interested," after they send hi beautiful or whatever, they're like, "Well, fuck, you're fat. I didn't want to fuck you anyways," or whatever.
exactly. Like that's just this. you're trying to be, arrogant and the whole high beautiful thing, and someone's like, oh, I have a name. Oh, well, fuck you. Yeah, I'm not interested in you anyways.
Right.
Oh, well, you messaged me first. Like it just shows, and then immediately shows that you're not confident. You're immediately showing no confidence at all. The biggest thing is that you have to learn to stop being defensive. It's the whole idea with not all men. That if a man, if I hear someone say men do this, my initial instinct is not to say, oh, not all men, because I know I don't do it. I know it doesn't apply to me. Why would I like? I'm like, yeah, I've seen that happen. That sucks. If your initial reaction is to start getting defensive about things, to start being like, oh well, I don't know, then you're part of the problem.
Why do men feel the need to say not all men instead of just be like, great, it's not me at least? You know what I mean? Like, why do you have to defend all the other men in the population?
Well, and that's a big issue, and that's a big issue with the whole dating coach thing too, where they don't call men out for just being shitty when they should, because like there's this weird concept that you have to all stick together for some reason, and
Yeah, you're
it's
part of the tribe. It's
yeah,
a pack dog mentality of like, oh, we're all in it to win this prize at the end of the road.
absolutely. And I think instead men should look at, well, how can I be a better ally to women? Because
That would
if you
take more
are,
work, though.
it would take a
It would
lot of work.
just take
It
more
takes
work.
reflection, it takes admitting your faults, it takes growing,
I
and
don't
it
want to
takes
pay $50 for a session of that. You know what I mean? I want to pay $50 to get laid
right.
or whatever they're
God,
charging.
I would love to charge some of those people, like the people who I pay for dating coaches. I'd be like, all right, let's try a session with me. And because I mean, I imagine how long they would last. They would last. I don't know if they'd last a full session before they would be like, oh, I can't do this. This is too hard.
First
And I'm like,
session is the most expensive, and then
oh
if
yeah,
you
yeah.
get
It's a
past that,
thousand
then
dollars for the first one, and then it's free for all the rest. If you make it through the first one, then that's a. Um, I think that it's one of these things that we need to learn to just to work on ourselves. If you really, I've already said this like 3 times, but if you are
I
the
know.
if it's like, but if you try to be the best person, like if you try to like who you see in the mirror, and you try to be somebody who listens, who learns, who empathizes, who knows how to communicate, then you will find success. That's really the extent of it. There's nothing more to it. But you have to be willing to do that. And if you instead want to take all these tips and tricks, then you're not going to find that happiness.
I think another good thing, now that I've learned through all of my mistakes of early on dating, is if you're not, you're not going the dating coach route, you're following just self-reflection or whatever. One of those points of self-reflection is, how would I want to be treated?
Yes.
When you start to overthink and overreact to like, oh, we're on X amount of date, we must be exclusive now, or oh, we're here, like me at the symphony, like just examples in my life where I'm like, damn, but if someone did that to me, I would probably be pissed too. So like just check yourself on those things. You don't have to have a playbook to go, oh, how would another person respond to this? How would another human like to be communicated with?
And that's a great way to look at it, is that, yeah, am I treating someone the way I want to be treated? The only downfall is if you're somebody who hates yourself, then you
Yeah,
don't you don't
yeah.
think you deserve to be treated well, and you're just shitty to everybody. And then that's when you shouldn't be dating. Like half of the people that are listening to dating coaches should not be dating. They should have a couple of years of self-reflection before they even try to enter the dating pool.
But they have the money and they feel entitled to love because they're quote unquote successful at this point in their life. And the only thing they're missing is love. So why not pay someone to solve that problem, because they can pay anybody else around them to fix the problems in their life? I think that could stem from a big portion of their clientele.
Yes, I agree. And I think it's not even paying sometimes too, because like these TikTok, when they get other money from views, so they're trying to
True.
just they give out a lot of their advice for free, and then they sell a book or sell a course as well. But they also just the views, and it's incredible sometimes some of the comments in some of those videos where these people are just telling on themselves. You talk about consent, for example. Consent was one that I saw a coach talk about, where he was just talking about how if someone says no, how to get that turn that no into a yes. and
That's
and
wild.
and so like there are women commenting, they're saying, no, that's rape. I'm sorry, like coercion is, once someone says no, you walk away. You don't try to convince them. If you whine, if you manipulate, if you whatever, anything like that violates that consent immediately. And all these men are like, telling on themselves, being like, oh, well, you can tell these men are terrible people because they're like, no, I don't, no, I agree with him, I agree with what he said, and this is a guy who has no qualifications coaching, who's trying to tell
He
men
just
that
has a
that they
million
don't.
views on TikTok.
Yeah,
And that's the credibility that they go, well, this guy must be doing something right because he's good looking and he gets a lot of views and clearly he's getting pussy, so he must be right. And he
Yes.
reaffirms my beliefs. So the confirmation bias is there and I'm not going to listen to anything else outside of this toxic circle I'm already in. And then I'll pay
Absolutely.
him for more bullshit.
Because they only want to affirm what they already believe. They don't want to have anything that challenges, and that's one big issue. And so, if you're considering a dating coach, don't do it. But try listening to the person that you're trying to attract. That's so important. I'll do videos about, hey men, do this, do this, do this, and there will be 1,000 women in the comments saying, absolutely, yes, please.
Please.
I wish more men would do this. Oh God, this is great. Thank you. Yes, and all this, and then we'll have the guy go there. No, this isn't right.
That'll never work.
Yeah. Oh no, that's just stupid or whatever. Or I hope she picks you, man. And shit like that.
Oh
And
yeah.
I will just comment. I'll be like, imagine seeing 1,000 women agreeing and thinking that you know more when it comes to like a relationship between men and women. If women are saying yes, please do this, listen to them. How hard is that? It's so easy. It takes no effort at all. Yet these guys are so fucking stubborn. They're unwilling to do so.
Yeah. Well, they can't listen because they can't communicate. And that's just not going to be a relationship worth entering with them.
Absolutely. Um, so there was one other aspect I want to talk about.
There's more. What
There's
haven't
more.
we covered
And
at this
there's
point?
more.
Do you want to talk
This.
about, and this wasn't
Oh,
something we had on our agenda, but it was just was the top of my mind. What do you think about matchmaking services? I feel like that's a different category. It's not like it, it's
yeah.
it's like a Bumble or a Tinder, but they're picking people who might be compatible. So it's a little different.
If
Like I
they're
just think about
actually doing that, then yes. But I think they tend to be very classist and racist.
I do agree. Like the show Millionaire Matchmaker.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that,
I mean,
that
that's
that's an
obviously very
example of
classist.
they're looking for other
Yeah.
rich people, other attractive people, there are some qualifications in terms of interest and things like that, but at least Patty, I think, is the woman on that show because I've watched that Bravo show a handful of times. I can't believe I could recall that. She's kicked people out of the club because they're toxic, because they don't
Yes.
match. So I mean, there is a level of scanning with that, but you still do, like you said, the classist, the racism, the other issues behind it that you have to have like a professional matchmaker who's going to scan some of those people out to actually be like a worthwhile thing to be involved with.
Yeah, it's yeah, it can work if you do have someone who's able to look past their biases and everything as well too, because I mean there is this inherent concept of I mean just systemic racism where people are like, oh well, I don't like black girls or something like that, and you're like, they don't understand that they might not be actively racist, but that's not a okay thing to say. And
Yeah.
but like a matchmaker might like play into that rather than say, hey, no, let's break that down first. Like let's talk about these systemic
It
prejudices.
goes
Let's
back
talk.
to getting paid.
Yeah, I know. But I think there are some probably good concepts with matchmaking as long as you can get rid of the, like I said, the classist aspects of it.
Well, you're also not telling them here's how to be in a successful relationship. They just kind of put people in the same
Yeah,
room and go,
they're
hope
like
it
you
works
guys.
out.
Well, they're like you guys seem like you two seem like you might be compatible. You both seem. I met both of you. I've spoken to you. I've interviewed both of you. You both feel like you might get along. So let's try. And that's
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with that. Like I feel like that's okay. It's when you add money to it that it just becomes this weird mercenary thing. Then you wonder how genuine that really is. Like I don't know, but I also think charging for a lot of these things makes it hard. Like Matthew Hussey is a good example
I'm
of
not familiar.
he's a guy who has a YouTube, millions of YouTube views, and he does relationship coaching and stuff like that. A lot of it for women as well, which I also want to talk about in a second. But and most of his concepts aren't bad. Like most of what he says is not bad, except for the fact that he's trying to make money, and he touts himself as being this expert without any actual expertise because he's not a woman. He's talking
Mm.
like and so instead of trying to tell women how to like avoid the toxicity, he's trying to coach women into
How to
like
accept a man.
yeah, and how to um how to take men as they are, and basically how to deal with men as they are. So instead of coming out, and that's the issue that I was going to say is that, but like his general concepts aren't bad, but then you look at the nitty gritty. I'm like, I just don't like the fact that now he's making money off it, and that's very mercenary because he's trying to do this. If the better solution, instead of saying, because it's almost like victim blaming, instead of saying, well, men are shitty. Here's what you have to do: do this, 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 and this. It's like, men, be better. Like that's the better answer. Men, be better. Women, don't be, like, don't let shitty men get in your, into your system, basically. Don't let shitty men take advantage of you. But it's all about men. Let's tell men to be better instead, but they don't do that. So anyone who coaches women any man who coaches women and focuses on coaching women, I feel like there's an issue with that, because it comes down to him almost mansplaining to women, how to avoid shitty men,
Okay.
which I have to be careful of as well, because a lot of my audience is women, especially like on TikTok, and so I have to be very careful to be like, listen, here are just some things, here's some tips and tricks that I've learned, but
This is just my experience.
but it's all down to men to do better. Like, men need to stop being shitty, but right now they're not. They are shitty. If you still want, for some reason, to date a man, even though I can understand why you wouldn't, if you still want to, then keep an eye out for these kind of red flags. And here's all the red flags that men have. And, and I try to explain them in a way that's not telling women that, hey, you're at fault for this. Men are absolutely at fault, but let's try to make sure that you're aware. At least you have as much awareness as possible.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar. I'm gonna have to look up this influencer type of
Matthew
person.
Hussey, yeah, we've had some people post in the group as well, stuff on him, and I always rant about him too, because, like I said, his actual message isn't awful. He's not as bad as most people, but it's when you watch his videos, it
The
makes you feel,
tone and the way it comes
yeah,
across.
it just,
Okay. The
it just
delivery is
it
just not as good as it could be.
yeah, it makes, I just don't, I want to be like, oh, I just want to like throw Jello at his face or something. I don't know why I picked Jello, but like, nothing that's gonna hurt him. But like, I just want to like smack him in the face with something wet. Like, I feel like that's what he deserves. Like, that's how that's what his voice and his attitude does to me.
Mm.
I want to assault him with something wet and moist. And just, yeah.
Okay, love that. All right. Where do I go from here? Anything else we want to rant about besides I honestly, I feel like I've said this multiple times throughout this little part of the episode anyways, of preying on the negative with advice that they give. Like, it's not from a positive place. It comes from negative
Yes.
feelings and negative. It's just like you have to do this because you're not good. Like, there's a negative connotation to every piece of advice, not necessarily a positive spin of like, and this could be better for you because of this. It's all like, you got to do that. Like, it's just the tone. Going back to what you said with tone, it's like, you got to do this if you want. It's more of a pressure and negative feel versus what the advice should be, which is like more positive, enlightening, self-reflection, getting better. Like, even if the even if the advice is good, that tone changes fucking everything.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that the positivity is the important part. And I think that if your goal, if you were thinking you need a dating coach or a relationship guru or one of those things, then you aren't ready to date or be in a relationship, that you need to really focus on yourself. And that's the biggest takeaway that I could give you is that you should start figuring out how to be happy as a single person, because that makes life so much easier. Once you're like happy and like, oh, I enjoy my single life, then you're not desperate, and you're not pathetic, and you have confidence, because you already because you like your own presence, you like your company, and if you like your own company, then eventually you're going to find somebody else who's going to like your company.
And then
Um,
once you're in that, then you could ask for advice on, hey, now I'm in this situation. I really like this girl. I just don't know what to do.
yes,
I was thinking about doing this instead of going, I don't know where to go. Give me what I need to do to win.
right.
It's like, hey,
Well,
I
because
really,
yes, and
it's
that's actually, you know what, that's a good thing we didn't even really say. That you just is that so much of the dating advice is all just get the woman, get the girl. It's not about a specific person that you find attractive. Any girl. It's like, once you identify your
that's true.
target, your prey, here's how to attack your prey and capture it. It's all very, it's just like, it's so broad. It has nothing to do with, like, if you end up meeting somebody, you're like, I really like this person. How do I get to know this one person? That's where coaching can be effective, because it'd be like, okay, now we're not talking about generalities. We're not talking about broad strokes. We're talking about
What do you
two
know about them? What do you
personalities.
like about them? How can you make them feel special? And you're listening, you're communicating, you're trying to make them feel special. Like, all of those things help build a foundation for a potential solid relationship, instead of just thinking, I'm going to be with this person because I'm that. Like it makes me think of Gaston from Beauty and the Beast of like, I don't really give a fuck if she likes me or not. I think she's hot. Everybody wants to date me. I want
Right.
her.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly the case. It's all like Gaston. They're all
No
assholes like
one
Gaston.
fucks like
Like,
Gaston.
no one two pumps like Gaston.
Pretty much, yes.
Yes. No
Which
one
people get
has
offended over
cum
that when I
gutters like
make
Gaston.
yeah, people get offended over that on TikTok when I made a joke about, "Oh, 2 pumps and you're done." They're like, "Hey, there's nothing wrong with that." I'm like, "I'm just making a joke because people are being assholes, okay? If you don't last long, that's fine, but you
But
gotta."
those guys who do that, the like who make jokes, or like who get defensive, they don't know what foreplay is either.
Well, exactly, and that just stems back to, like, you're probably part of this, "I need a dating coach to get a woman" type thing because I feel less than other people instead of trying to work on myself to feel not less.
Yes.
It's like that word doesn't make sense.
Well, in conclusion, if you are a dating coach and you are coaching men
You wanna be on this
how to
show.
go around the show, I think you have your answer.
It's a hell no.
If you do want good advice, you can join our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/DKS podcast. And that's actually where people will ask specific questions. Hey, I matched with this person. Conversation's going well. I just want to know. And that's where it is, a one-on-one type thing. And it's all about listening and communication. So the Facebook group is a great place for that.
Yeah, because you can source more opinions than just one person who's like the sole truth of how to be successful. You get a good idea of like, okay, a handful of people said this, a handful of people said not to do this. Okay, I kind of got a better sense of where I should go from here. And then you take it and run with it in your
Exactly.
own way.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And yeah, if you are a fan of this podcast and you would like to support us because, we're not dating coaches or anything like that, you can become a member on Patreon at patreon.com/DKS podcast. We always do a little tidbit episode after each live episode. And yeah, so you can get exclusive content and get updates
Like
on
$5 a month supports us,
as
which
fun.
is
Yep.
nice and just helps us. But we give this out for free, so that's okay too.
Absolutely. And then, yeah, for all of our fans, our 10 fans who are watching on YouTube right now, what's up? You can join us on YouTube at youtube.com/dating kinda sucks on there. And
It is
then
amazing. It is amazing how many listeners we have, but then how few YouTube viewers we have. People
we
would
just do it for fun now, I
they'd
guess.
much
I
rather
don't know.
listen to us than watch us. Is actually what it means. They'd much rather,
It's
it's
'cause I
me.
look like shit. No.
No, they don't want to see. They don't want to see me. To our listeners in Newhall, California,
Yo, thank
yeah,
you, Newhall, California. What's
wherever you are,
good?
whatever you're doing, I don't know, but we have a lot of listeners or downloads in that area. That's
The
really
Santa
weird.
Clarita area,
Yeah.
north of LA. Yeah, you guys rock. Thanks for
Yeah,
listening.
and also a shout out to our new listeners that we found out in Uganda and Greece. I think were the two
Oh,
countries
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. Uganda and Greece
we
were the
popped
two.
up in their high on their charts there. So if you're in those countries and you're listening, thank you for listening. That's fantastic. If you want to leave us a review, you can on Apple Podcasts. That'd be great too. A 5-star rating and review is always helpful.
Yeah, and then of course with TikTok or Instagram, be sure to follow us on Instagram at Dating Kinda Sucks, and then our personal TikToks as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to pitch mine just because I'm so active on there
Yeah,
with
because
dating
you're
stuff.
more
It's
active than I am. Yeah,
you
go
can
ahead.
find me you can find me at Adam Heathavitable on TikTok, and that'd be you can definitely join in on the conversation there. And if you have any questions you want to email us and you don't want to use the Facebook group, you can always email at datingkindasuckspodcast@gmail.com.
But don't email about show pitches if you're a dating coach.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's the other
Oh yes,
takeaway
yes,
for
we
this
made
episode.
that takeaway. Yes, absolutely. And with that, we'll be back in 2 weeks with a brand new episode.
Until next time.
Whether you're married or single or poly or ace, or hanging out with swingers back at your place, listen to us as we give no fuck on Tinder and Bumble and plenty of yucks, trying and having no luck, because we all know dating kinda sucks. Sarah and Adam are two of a kind. He says stupid shit and she doesn't mind. They're not doing this show to make any buck. Life as a chicken whose feathers he plucks. Why does it work? Well, here is the crux. They both know dating kinda sucks. Dating kinda sucks.